Gather round and lend me your ears. Today we're going to dive deep into the world of philosophy and explore the teachings on one of the greatest thinkers of all time, Socrates. Now, before you start snoozing off and thinking, oh great, another boring lecture on philosophy, well, let me tell you that we're going to put a little spin on it. That's right, we're going to talk about self-control and we're going to do it with a healthy dose of humor. You see, Socrates believed that self-control was a crucial part of living a fulfilling life. And let's be real, who doesn't want to live a fulfilling life? It's like getting a gold medal in the Olympics, except without all the sweating and training and, actual talent. So if you're ready to laugh and learn, buckle up and get ready to explore the teachings of Socrates on self-control. Because if there's one thing we can all use a little more of, it's self-control. Know thyself. Basically, Socrates believed that if we want to control ourselves and our impulses, we need to know ourselves really well. It's like playing a video game. If you don't know the controls, you are going to struggle to make progress. But once you know how to move your character and use their abilities, you can start to make progress and overcome challenges. So in the same way, Socrates believed that by knowing our strengths and weaknesses, we can start to make progress in controlling our impulses. For example, if you know that you have a weakness for chocolate cake, you can make a conscious effort to avoid it or limit your consumption. Or if you know that you have a quick temper, you can work on strategies to calm yourself down when you feel angry. But self-awareness is more than just knowing our weaknesses. It's also about knowing our strengths and using them to our advantage. For example, if you know that you are a natural leader, you can use that strength to motivate yourself to stay on track and resist temptation. Of course, self-awareness isn't always easy. It can be tough to look at ourselves objectively and recognize our flaws. But according to Socrates, it's the foundation of all wisdom. And if there's one thing we all want, it's to be wise, right? Because if we're wise, we can impress people with our knowledge at parties. And that's the ultimate goal, isn't it? Seek knowledge. Let us say you're trying to quit smoking. Socrates would probably recommend that you do some research on the health risks associated with smoking. By learning about the dangers of smoking, you will be better equipped to resist the temptation to light up. Plus, you will have plenty of interesting facts to share with your smoking friends at parties. Socrates was a wise philosopher who believed that gaining knowledge was essential for exercising self-control. Essentially, he thought that if we knew more about the things we desired, we could make better choices and avoid overindulging. In a way, Socrates was like a wise old grandpa who always had a nugget of knowledge to share. He believed that education was the key to unlocking our potential and achieving self-control. So the next time you're struggling with temptation, remember to channel your inner Socrates and educate yourself about the things you desire. Who knows, you might just learn something new and interesting in the process. And if nothing else, you will have a great story to tell at your next family gathering. Control your emotions. Now don't get me wrong, emotions are a natural and important part of being human. It's totally normal to feel angry, jealous, or afraid at times. But as Socrates would say, we need to learn to control these emotions and not let them control us. Otherwise, we might end up being something we regret, like yelling at our boss or eating an entire tub of ice cream. So according to Socrates, our emotions can sometimes get the better of us and lead us to make bad decisions. For example, imagine you're driving on the highway and someone cuts you off. Your initial reaction might be to scream, honk your horn, or maybe even flip them off. But as Socrates would remind us, that kind of reaction is driven by our emotions and can cloud our judgment. Instead, we should take a deep breath, keep our cool, and focus on driving safely. So how do we learn to control our emotions? Socrates would suggest practicing mindfulness, self-reflection, and self-discipline. This means taking a moment to pause and reflect on how we're feeling and then choosing how we want to react. For example, if you are feeling angry, you could choose to take a walk or talk to a friend instead of lashing out at someone else. In conclusion, Socrates' advice about controlling our emotions is as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago. So next time you feel yourself getting worked up, take a deep breath, channel your inner Socrates, and remember that self-control is the ultimate superpower. Practice self-discipline. Now I know what you're thinking, but exercising self-discipline sounds so boring and no fun at all. And trust me, I get that. It's not always easy to say no to the things that we want in the moment. But here's the thing. Self-discipline is like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it gets. And the stronger your self-discipline is, the easier it becomes to make good choices and stay control of your life. Socrates was a wise old philosopher who believed that if we want to be in control of our lives, we need to practice and exercise self-discipline. This means that we need to be able to resist temptation and make choices that are good for us, even if they're not always easy or fun. For example, let's say you're trying to eat healthy, but you love junk food. If you have self-discipline, you will be able to resist the temptation to eat that bag of chips instead of reaching for a healthier snack. Or maybe you're trying to study for an exam, but you keep getting distracted by social media. With self-discipline, you will be able to resist the urge to check your phone and focus on your studies. So the next time you're faced with a challenge between what you want right now and what's good for you in the long run, remember that Socrates' teachings has effect and self-discipline. Exercise your self-discipline muscle, resist temptation, and you will be on your way to mastering self-control. Plus, you'll have a great sense of satisfaction knowing that you have the willpower of a great philosopher. Pursue virtue. Socrates believed that if we want to exercise self-control, we need to become virtuous people. And let us face it, who doesn't want to be a virtuous person? It's like being a superhero except without the superpowers or the spandex. To become virtuous, Socrates believed that we need to cultivate qualities like courage, wisdom, and justice. Courage is all about facing our fears and standing up for what we believe in. Wisdom is about making good choices and learning from our mistakes. And justice is about treating others fairly and doing what is right, even when it's hard. But let's be honest. Becoming virtuous is easier said than done. It's not like you can wake up one day and suddenly become a paragon of courage, wisdom, and justice. It takes time and effort to cultivate these virtues, just like what it takes time and effort to become a master of anything. But the good news is, by pursuing virtue, we can learn to control our impulses and live a more fulfilling life. So if you want to exercise self-control and live a more fulfilling life, take a page out of Socrates' book and pursue virtue. Who knows, you might just become a superhero after all. Now some of you might be thinking, wow, Socrates sounds like a pretty wise guy. Maybe I should start living my life according to his teaching. To you I say, hold your horses, buddy. I mean, sure, Socrates was a smart guy and all, but let us not forget that he also walked around barefoot and talked to statues. So maybe take his teachings with a grain of salt. But all jokes aside, Socrates' teachings on self-control are still relevant today. We live in a world where we're bombarded by distractions and temptation. And it can be hard to resist them. But by following Socrates' teachings, we can learn to control our impulses and live a more fulfilling life. So whether you're trying to eat healthier, quit smoking, or just be a better person, remember that self-control is key. And who knows, maybe one day you'll be as wise as Socrates. Just maybe wear shoes and talk to real people. If you are new here, hello and welcome to Motivation Matters Most. Here in this channel, we talk about self-improvement and motivation with different stories to go along with it in order for you to find success in life. If this is something you're into, consider hitting the subscribe button and ring the bell icon so you can be updated on our next upload. With all that said, work hard in silence and let your silence be your noise. See you!